A lot of people will buy a property, 2 years they need to live in it, then they'll turn that into a rental. So they'll have a better even tax break because it was their primary. Then they buy another primary, turn that into a rental.
If you're a residential real estate agent earning $200,000 a year and you want to grow your passive income, this show's for you. Learn the secrets other agents use and hear from experts in our field in order to guide you along your journey to investing in assets like apartment communities so that you can turn your commissions into cash flow. I'm Randall DeCleared. Let's go, baby. All right. Today, I'm bringing you a powerhouse out of the Denver market. She is a top producer and she's awesome to talk to. I'm bringing on Patti Williams. She's with Liv Sotheby's, and we talk about the transactions that she does now and how she's a solo operator. Essentially, she's running all of her transactions, why that's great for her clients. And then we talk a little bit about investing and what she is getting into and how she's been investing over a number of years. So yeah, you're going to get a lot out of the show. I know she's got some great tips on putting yourself out there. She's going to be on a TV show, which is very cool as well. So it's a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. As always, if you're getting something out of the show, please go on, rate and review. Helps us with the reach quite a bit. If you are interested in investing in property, I know that Patti and I discuss it and how she got started and the type of strategy that she's using. I have a free course that you can go and get that discusses rentals, flips, sub-twos, all kinds of different investment strategies on the single family side. It's free. Go to commissionstocashflow.com, commissiontocashflow.com. It's number 2. And that link is going to be in the show notes. And you can download all the stuff that I have for those strategies and see which one fits. If you want to reach out to me directly and talk about any of those, it's rm@ridgelineig.com. And I'm happy to chat with you and see how I can help you along your investing journey. All right, let's jump in and talk to Patti. Here we go. All right, Patti, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on today. I'm excited to have this conversation, talk about where you are in real estate, what you're working on, talk some investing as well, and just jump in and go from there. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I want to ask you, you're in the Denver market. Let's talk brokerage first and kind of what you're doing in the space, like what price point you are, what you're seeing in the market up there in Denver.
Yeah, so I'm with Liv Sotheby's, and I'd say my average price point is somewhere around 1.3, 1.4, but I do all ranges. The market here in Denver is still a strong market. We have low inventory. There probably isn't as many buyers out there with 7% interest rates as there were, but there's still buyers out there. I'm still doing deals, not the craziness of bidding wars and all that we had there for a couple years, but still, if the property's priced well and shows well, it's getting multiple offers.
Yeah. You said you were doing something around 40 to 50 a year. So is that you or do you have a team? Like how is your...
Nope, that's just me.
Ooh, nice. Crushing it.
I don't know if I manage others well. Yeah, I'm not a good delegator. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Do you find that has a pro or con with your clients? Because it seems like they're getting you.
My clients love that. I get asked that a lot. Like they don't want to be passed off. And so, no, I think if I did pass them off, they wouldn't really care for that. But it's also, I think, why my business has grown so much is because I'm the face. I'm the one they're always talking to. I'm the one that's following up. I mean, most of my clients become my friends. And so even outside of real estate, we're still talking and doing things.
Yeah. I saw the article that came out about you. You're the mama bear of... What was the...
I am the last of 7 kids and I'm very, very, very protective. So with my clients, it's no different than my kids. I'll protect them. And if I feel like somebody's doing something wrong, they'll pretty much have to deal with me.
Yeah. Bring out the claws. All right.
Right.
Okay. All right. So it's you and you're doing that. So you're saying 1.3-ish is kind of your average?
That's my average. But literally, I've sold couple $100,000 condos to $6 million properties.
What's the median up in Denver?
That's so subjective depending on where you're at. If you looked at like national statistics, you'd probably be right in the mid 500s.
Okay.
But honestly, it would be hard pressed to find something here in the mid 500s, single family anyway.
Okay. So like a 1.3 is, what is that? A 3.2, 1,500 square foot house?
1.3. They used to call that luxury. But honestly, 1.3 right now is probably, depending on the neighborhood, an older home that needs some updating. If you are in a newer neighborhood, 1.3 would probably get you a smaller home, but it would be updated, that kind of thing. It really just depends on what part of Denver you're looking at.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we come up there a bit, but I'm not familiar with the neighborhoods up there. It's an awesome town. Great place to be, skiing close by.
It really is. I love all 4 seasons, and I'm born and raised here, and I can't imagine living anyplace else.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So let's talk. One, on the brokerage side, again, if you have anything specific that you are doing right now that you feel is winning you business that other agents can maybe utilize in their business, what would you say that is?
So reluctantly, I have just really started incorporating a lot more video, social media things. So I have a videographer and we highlight like different neighborhoods or different parts of town. And it doesn't always have to be a house. It could be an activity like Red Rocks or something like that. That's a huge music venue here. That was hard for me to commit to doing, but it has made a difference.
Okay, let's break that down because I've thought about doing that in the past for a number of things. One, this is local to your market, obviously, but what does the videographer run you? How many videos do they get? So just kind of tell me some of the details of what's happening there.
Yeah, so I pay him for the videography and the editing of the videos. He doesn't post them. I have a different social media person that can post them for me. And I pay him about $2,500 a month. And that usually gets me 2 to 3 YouTube videos and then probably about 10 reels. And you can also break up the YouTubes into different reels if you wanted to as well.
Is he able to do that or you have somebody else that is chopping those videos up?
I let him do all the editing. I tried to let somebody else do the editing and it did not go well.
Okay. So $2,500 a month, you get these 3. Are you in the videos? Is it like you're walking around like?
Yep.
Okay.
Like I just covered like one of our country clubs, went through, what it makes it so special there. And then we highlighted the neighborhood of what the pricings would be for homes to live in that neighborhood. And then he edits everything. And it's usually a 3 to 5 minute YouTube.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And so once you post those, is it mainly like a YouTube post that you guys are putting it out? Or are you doing
all kinds? So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn are my main sources. I don't do TikTok or anything like that. But yeah, so I'm starting to have more of a presence on social media where I never really, most of my business is just built on repeat and referral business relationship wise.
Yeah. Okay. So are you getting feedback from your current clients? They're like, hey, I saw you on this.
Yes.
Okay. So that's one top of mind sort of deal that's happening. But for new people that are coming in, like how do you handle that funnel? If somebody reaches out to you through Instagram, is it just like, hey, because the reason I'm asking is very specific that I have a social media company that I'm working with and they're like, okay, when somebody likes your page, go through and say, hey, thanks for liking my page. What was it that drew you in? Stuff like that. Are you doing anything like that? Do you have any kind of process?
Yeah, I'm trying to respond and engage with people. So I just was chosen to be a host on American Dream TV. So it's kind of like a luxury lifestyle show. And so I just posted that on Facebook and I got a lot of great responses for that. They have a lot of questions about it.
Yeah.
And answer their questions and stay engaged with them.
Yeah. Awesome. So congrats on that.
Thanks.
When is that? Is that like a running TV series, kind of like HGTV?
It is. Yeah. So they just are starting. It's in other states. It's actually been nominated for an Emmy. They just came to Colorado. I have to have my filming done before September 8th. And then that show will air in October.
All right. And so how did that even come about? You have an agent that's pushing stuff out for you or you?
No, somebody actually that had been working with this company referred me.
Nice.
And said she might be a good fit for you. And so they kind of did like a little casting call in Denver, Colorado Springs, and some of the mountain towns.
Yeah.
And they basically pick 5 hosts because each host like talks about like I would do Denver, somebody else would talk about Vail, that kind of thing per episode.
Yeah. Okay. And how many episodes do you know?
I can go as long as I want to do it or as long as they want me.
That's awesome.
So there's no deadline on it. I think for me, it's going to be time consuming. So I have to play that out. But I do think it's good for getting yourself out there.
So many things. Yeah. Credibility. I mean, you can always point to it. It's like there's a term that one of these guys used. It's like evergreen content sort of deal, but it's something else. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats on that. Okay, so let's get back to, I guess, the tips or the things. So 1, put yourself out there. 2, it sounds like make yourself available because if you're the point of contact, your clients and your customers really like that about what you're doing. So any other thoughts around that? Like anything you're doing currently, like right now in this market, a little bit challenging market. Some would say the rates have gone up. So like what are some things that you're doing that may be driving some more customers to you?
Educating them because people listen to the news and the news wants to put out there what people will listen to. And not always is that, it's either total high or total low. It's nowhere in the middle. So I try and educate people. And I'm always trying to talk to people about building wealth because I truly believe you can build wealth in real estate. And that's even before I was a realtor. That's what we were doing was buying a home, living in it 4 years, selling it, moving up. And that's the next progression of how we got to rental properties. So I just feel like it's a great opportunity to build wealth for yourself.
Yeah.
And I try to share that with people.
All right, perfect. Okay, so that's a good transition then. Well, let's talk about building wealth. So we talked a minute ago, you said that you own 4 rental properties. And so did you buy property before you were an agent and before you were, like, how did that work out?
Yeah. So I got my real estate license in 2003. And the reason I did that is I was working with custom home builders doing all their permanent fixture selections for their spec homes. And I'd end up working with the buyers anyway. And my first husband and I wanted to buy some investment properties. And so I got my license. I didn't know what I was doing. I bought 2 back then, and they were great. They cash flowed. They were awesome. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2007. And so you know what the market looked like, 2008, 2009. Yeah. I sold those properties back then, but I always wanted to get back into it. So fast forward, maybe 2012, 13, I guess, I started going back into buying investment properties. And I had done a couple of different courses because you really do need to make sure that you know how your numbers are going to work and that they are going to cash flow. And so I have a whole sheet. And if I work with investors today, I still use that sheet of where are our numbers and is it going to cash flow? I look at my net worth and especially how much they've grown with what just happened in the market here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they're refinanced at like 2%. What I really need to do is take the equity out of them and buy some more. And I've just been working too much.
All right. So a lot of stuff there to unpack. One, you bought it back in 03, 04. Is something like that.
I bought 2 rental properties, single family. I always try and buy single family or duplexes.
Yeah.
Because condos have association fees and they can be more complicated and they're harder to cash flow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bought a couple, but I had to sell them in I think I sold them in 2009.
Okay. In San Antonio, we have a few condos, but every time I ever looked at them, like the price point may look okay, but then you see that $300 or $200 association fee and you're like, how much more house can I buy with that on a monthly basis?
Exactly.
It's significant. Yeah. And it's just eats into your cash flow. So yeah, we've stayed away from those. Okay. So you did that. And then because I saw that you were doing the interior designing. And so now that explains what you were working on. You were working with the builders. So when you bought, were those new, like builder product, or did you buy some used houses?
No, they were resale homes they were popular, actually family neighborhoods. My goal was always to have at least a 3-bed, 2-bath. Yeah. They were the ones that rented the best. And so I kept that. And then, like I said, I would look for a popular school district or something that attracted people to that area.
Yeah. Okay. So you had those. And then I wanted to, I guess, ask, were you transacting on the brokerage side in that time frame? Or did you wait until around 2012 to actually get engaged in the brokerage side of the business?
You mean as
an agent?
So when I got my license in 2003, I was selling real estate, but technically my husband was the primary breadwinner. But I loved doing it. And then when he died in 2007, I had a 15 and a 16-year-old to provide for. And so that's when I really probably kicked in and had to start building my business.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's that. I just didn't know the trajectory on your brokerage side. Okay. So then you start really in 2007, 2008, arguably a difficult time to get into real estate.
That's probably the most amount of work I've done for the least amount of money I've ever made, just because of all the short sales and foreclosures.
Yeah. I was in Australia and I moved back. It was very similar timing. I was like, I really need to get into real estate. I need to be buying some properties. And so when I moved back, it all happened. Everybody knows what happened. And my entry into purchasing property, it was buying $20,000 houses, $15,000, $10,000 houses. And so it was a tough time to be getting into real estate, but it was like fortuitous opportunity.
I actually kicked myself. I think I was afraid at that time to really jump in because of everything that had happened. But in hindsight, if I wouldn't have known, I would have invested a lot more in real estate. I put it in the stock market because that's what my first husband did. So I just was doing what I thought he would do. And that was a big mistake. If I ever had it to do over again, I would have bought real estate. Yeah.
I think mine was blissful ignorance at the time. I was like, nah, yeah, let's go. Pew, pew. And just started buying things, I tell this story a lot because the first house I bought, it was sight unseen. I was an escrow officer with a fee attorney. And this lady was going to close on this property with an investor. The investor backed out last minute. I think he had under contract for $15,000. And I was there and I had, I don't know, $10,000 to my name. I just moved back. I was maybe 15, I don't know. And I was like, I'll give you 10 grand, sight unseen. She was like, okay. Did the paperwork. I show up to the house and there was like a massive hole in the roof. It was just like, yeah, it was luckily, I flipped it. I sold it for 15 to another investor and 50% return in a week or two. And I was like, all right, I'm hooked. Yeah. But it's just funny, back then I didn't know any better. It was worth taking the risk. And I feel like we're kind of getting to a point now where it's like going to be a good time to be buying again. Maybe there's going to be a bit of a reset in pricing. Hasn't happened yet, but
it hasn't. It's funny too, because these interest rates, I come from where interest rates 6 and 7% really isn't that bad of an interest.
Yeah.
When you see these people that got 2 and 3, I get why they're upset about 6 and 7. But if you were ever on the other end of 12 and 18% for interest, you'd think 6 or 7's pretty good.
Pretty good deal. Yeah. We're proud to be sponsored by Ridgeline Investment Group. Ridgeline has a track record of transacting more than $53 million in assets throughout Texas. Ridgeline is currently looking to acquire 100 to 200 unit Class B multifamily communities between 5 and 20 million in San Antonio, Temple, Waco, Tyler, and other Texas secondary markets. To learn more about Ridgeline Investment Group, visit www.ridgelineig.com. All right, let's talk about your investments then. So you bought 4, you have 4 currently. And so one, I guess you would own some prior to that. And then when you started buying again, like what was the catalyst? What were you thinking at the time? Like, okay, I need to buy some properties to offset some income. Mm-hmm. Like what was the thought process?
I was sitting on cash, and because of the prior thing getting burned by the stock market, I was not willing to put it back in there. So my goal was to set cash aside and then buy these rental properties. And so I really needed to do it for income tax purposes as well.
Okay. So break down how that works. We've got a number of listeners who don't actually invest or haven't bought real estate themselves. Then what sort of rationale do you have when you buy something? Like, what are you getting as tax benefits?
That's probably a question above my pay grade because I have the most amazing CPA. I love him. And he's the one that actually is kind of educates me about, okay, you're sitting on this much, you should be investing in that. I'd have to honestly go ask him what my actual tax breaks are on it because I just trust him to take care of it.
Okay.
So I don't really have a specific number for you.
I think it's great. I think that's good advice, though. Go find a good CPA who knows real estate.
It's true. He saved me so much money. The other thing, all of my properties are held in LLCs. And I also have an umbrella policy to cover myself if anything happened at any of those. So I really do think you have to take this seriously. It's not just buying rental property and being like, you've got to protect yourself and your assets too.
Yeah, I like that. It's not just like, yeah. I'm kind of curious. So you have each property has an individual LLC to it. Okay. Yeah. We haven't really done that. We've kept tranches, I guess, in LLCs. You can also look at doing series LLCs. If you're not familiar with what those are, it just saves a little bit on your filing and the number of different sets of books and that sort of thing that you have to have.
And I think that's probably eventually what we'll get to because of it. Right now, they are filing each of them.
Yeah. Again, a good CPA and a good attorney on your team. Build your team out. Make sure you have that, which is a great point because I talk a lot about investing in general and things that you should be doing. And building a team is certainly one of them and having a good CPA and a good accountant on hand. All right. So let's talk specific about one of the properties then. You've owned it. Let's maybe for a second, I don't know if you have a favorite. Let's kind of go into the details, what you bought it for. If it's cash flowing, do you have these kind of numbers top of mind?
I don't know. Approximate.
Okay.
I could give So let's see, the ones in Englewood, I would say I paid right around $500,000 for them each. And I would say in today's market, and those ones are the newer ones. I bought those in 2018, I think it was.
Okay.
And right now I'd say they're in the mid 7s. And the cash flow wise, each of them produces about $2,000 a month cash flow for me.
And those are long-term rentals, short-term rentals? How do you have them set up?
Those ones started off as furnished rentals. They cash flowed even better then, but it was a lot of work because they were turning and I was managing them. And with how much I work and doing that, it was just a lot. So I ended up now they're long-term rentals, but they still cash flow great. They're a great location. People love the location of them. It helped even better because I think when I first bought them, my interest rates on them were in the 4s. And then I refied them and they're down in the 2s. So that even helped more with the cash flow.
Yeah, for sure. So do you recall what you had to put down on those? Was it like a 20% down?
I had to do 25% down on each of them because they were considered an investment property because I already had my primary.
Okay.
A good strategy if you could do it, but I think I'm too old to live like that. A lot of people will buy in property, 2 years they need to live in it, then they'll turn that into a rental. So it was their primary, so they'll have a better even tax break because it was their primary.
Yeah.
Then they buy another primary, turn that into a rental. For me, my rental properties, I just wouldn't want to live in them.
Yeah.
Sounds bad.
It's just the reality. I mean,
At my age, I've moved up to living in a very nice home, and not that these aren't nice, but it's just not where I'm.
House hack every 2 years.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah,
honestly, you're young and you can do it. And you really should be, like I said, I'm sitting on a lot of equity in these properties right now that I really should be pulling out and buying more properties with.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. For me, it's just been about time.
Yeah. It's also, if you have those twos, the 2 interest rate, and you're trading up for a 7% rate to tap into a certain amount of equity, obviously you have to do the calculation, make sure it's worth it to do that.
Right.
But yeah, if you're 125, and I wanted to do some quick numbers. So your 125 was your down payment on that deal. Let's just say from day one, you were cash flowing $2,000 a month. Maybe you said higher, but 125, that's 24. So do 24,000 divided by 125. So you're getting like a 19% ROI, like on an annualized basis, really.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really good return. I mean, that's cash flowing quite a bit for a $125,000 investment.
Yeah. I think I bought them just like honestly at the perfect time for those. Market just kind of went crazy here, but the rental market's crazy here too. So it's not like it's just in the resale market. Rentals are very hard to get here too, and it's expensive to rent.
Okay. So what are you seeing right now on the investment side? Would you acquire anything right now? And if so, like what would it have to look like?
I'm waiting a little bit right now just to see kind of what happens. For me, I'll probably look more starting in January, mainly just because the market's cooler then. And if people need to sell, you sometimes can get a better deal at that point. So I'm kind of looking for that. Interest rates don't scare me because I can refinance. If that number changes or whatever, if I can make my numbers work at 7%, I can make my numbers work if they go less than that, even more. So it's just about making sure you're paying attention to the numbers.
There's a guy that I follow. His name's Jason Hartman. He does a lot of economics on buying properties. He's an investor himself. He's all over social media and everything, but he has an interesting take on it and he describes like buying property and getting a loan. It's like you could trade those things out. It's not a forever instrument, right? You can easily refinance at some point in the future based on obviously the value of the property, as long as that value is going up or it's, staying the same and you have equity in the deal.
Right.
You can trade that mortgage out. So yeah, it shouldn't scare you.
No. And also like what I do with my cash flow is I put it back into the mortgage. So it's paying it down even quicker.
Yeah.
Because my goal is to try and pay it off as soon as possible.
Yeah. So that helps with your taxes as well, because you're not taking that income necessarily. You're paying down a loan with it. Yeah.
Right. We're just paying down.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting. So I saw on here that you like exotic cars.
I do.
So I got to ask you about that. Like, do you drive exotic cars? Do you just like them? Like, what's the story?
So I grew up in a race car family.
Okay.
And my current husband collects cars. His cars are not my genre, but we have a 10-car garage. It has mainly 1970 big block muscle cars in it.
All right.
But there's a Ferrari in there and then a Bentley. And those are the two that the girls fight over driving. We don't really care. The big black muscle cars, one, they don't have AC, and two, some of them don't have power steering. And I'm like, I'm good. But let's see. I mean, I've just always been interested in cars. If I could go out today and buy a sports car, I'd probably buy an Aston Martin DBS.
Nice.
I love a good Bugatti. I don't know if I'd spend over $1 million on a car, but it's beautiful. So I don't know. They just intrigue me, and I love engine noise.
Yeah. So no electric cars then?
No.
Not happening. Not the automated, like the fake noise. Vroom, vroom.
No. And you know why? Because fake noise doesn't give you the vibrations and everything. Like I have a BMW M50i and it's the biggest engine. And when you start it, everybody knows you started it.
You're in it. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't know why.
Nice. We did a few events. I want to say it was in Utah, and we had a Cars and Coin event and had everybody just bring out their supercars. It was awesome. But yeah, it's a good hobby to have.
It's fun. I mean, I'd say like I love a good Ferrari, and if I can spot a Ferrari noise engine from like miles away.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So yeah, I just saw that on there and I wanted to ask you about it. And I know you ski, you're up in the mountains.
Yep.
So do you guys get out much when you're up, and what's your favorite mountain town up there?
So my favorite mountain town is, well, it was Vail when I was raising my kids. And what I love about Vail is you pretty much park your car and you don't need it again.
Yeah.
When my kids were young, it felt safe to let them go around the village and things like that. Now that they're older and grown, I probably ski Beaver Creek more.
Okay.
And the reason I like Beaver Creek is because I usually ski at the Ritz and it's just in and out. Like it's the most convenient thing ever. So those are the main places that I ski.
All right. I haven't been to Beaver Creek. I'll have to check it out.
It's great.
Yeah, we were at St. Regis, and what town was that in? Is that in Vail?
Aspen. There's a St. Regis in Vail too, but there's a St. Regis in Aspen.
Okay. I think we were the one in Vail. Oh, no. Sorry. That was in Park City.
Oh, yeah.
In Utah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we trade places. We go there, but it's so easy when we're up in Utah. It's like 30 minutes to all those mountains. So when we have the kids, it's a little bit easier just to not have them in the car through the mountains.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, we've kind of gone all over the place here. I want to ask you, I guess, any other advice you might have for agents looking to, grow their passive income, to invest in properties? Because that's really, again, the crux of the show. Like you said, you educate your clients. Like, what are you talking to them about? Because that information is applicable to anyone looking to invest in real estate.
Right. And it really depends on who I'm talking to. Like if I have parents who have young kids, they're going to want to put them in college. I say, buy an investment property, start building up money there, and you'll have your kids' college education paid for.
Yep.
Or people that actually have their kids in college, buy a place where they are, have them have roommates. The roommates basically pay the mortgage and your kids living for free.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many things you can do to leverage it. I know so many people that have made money doing it this way that you just can't ignore it.
Yeah. Are you seeing anything now, like with investors that you work with? And I don't know if you work with a lot of investors or not, but any strategy that they're using right now, short-term rentals, sub-twos, anything specific that's working right now that may be producing higher than usual cash flow?
The short-term furnished rentals are definitely cash cows. The one thing you have to be careful for is they can't all be like Airbnbs, those kind of things. Like when I was doing short-term rentals on my Inglewood properties, they don't allow Airbnbs there. You have to have at least a 30-day rental.
Okay.
But still, they were furnished. And honestly, I rented them to, there's a thing called furnishfinders.com, which is a lot of travel nurses.
Okay.
They were great. They're quiet. They don't do anything. They don't damage anything. They get a stipend, so they pay their rent every month. It was like the easiest thing ever.
That's gold right there. I've been asking around what the sites were for traveling nurses.
Yeah. Furnishfinders.com. It's a great site.
Furnish Finders?
Furnishfinders.com.
With an ED, furnished.
Furnished. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll throw that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're looking for, because that's been a way to get around, I guess, the short-term rental regulations, right? Where you can actually still rent and the pay is better than 12-month lease typically.
Yeah, for sure. And then like I get a lot of relocation clients that the timing might not be right of when they're getting here and when they're closing on their place. So it's perfect because it's very hard to do short-term leases.
Yeah.
So if you go there, there's a month and it's furnished and then you move into your new place.
Yeah, easy. Okay. Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Okay. So the short-term, mid-term type rentals, that's working. Are you in the 1.3 price point? Are you selling some of those things or is that more for the $750,000 or $500,000 type properties?
Sorry, say that again. Am I selling my properties?
No. Like the price point you were talking about is 1.3. So like, are any of those investment properties or are those really like end buyers looking for their property?
I would say my bulk of my business isn't in investing.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of my clients, like I said, if they're sending a kid to college or something like that, we'll talk about investing in that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to refer them if it's in a different state. But I would say if I had to look at the bulk of my business, it's regular real estate.
Yeah. Tried and true. Awesome. All right. So what are you seeing in the next 6 months, a year? Like what are you focused on and what do you think is going to happen in the market? Crystal ball time.
In Colorado, I love Colorado. It's a very steady market. When you see highs and lows, big dips, Colorado's not like that. It's kind of more just a little bit of a bumpy ride. And so in this business, it's one of the 3 needs that people have: shelter, clothing, and food. So even though people are reluctant to get rid of these low interest rates, there's life circumstances that happen that still make that have to happen. So for me, I don't focus on where the interest rates are and things like that. I just focus on my people, what their needs are, what their long-term goals are, and how we're going to get them there.
I love it. Awesome. Solid advice. The mama bear of real estate. Patti, it was awesome having you on. I appreciate you sharing your information and your story.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to the show that you're going to be on as well. We'll definitely plug that in the show notes.
Yeah. If
you guys are in the Colorado market and you're looking for someone to help you with any of your real estate needs, definitely reach out to Patti. Her contact info is in the show notes. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Surprisingly, most of the agents we speak with got into real estate hoping to gain passive income and become work optional. However, only 1 in 5 ever start investing. Most are simply too afraid to start. Once you get educated by listening to this show, you'll be able to overcome that fear and become the 1 in 5 who are finding financial freedom. Don't miss a single episode. If you want to stay up to date, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. And we'll catch you on the next episode.